I've been yours since that first day you carved my initials in your leg. I have been yours since the day I first saw you riding side saddle on a buffalo. The Addams family has always been known for its eccentricity and spooky charm. But did you know that behind the scenes, things were even stranger? From Carolyn Jones enduring hours of grueling makeup to transform into Morticia, to the shocking fact that the family's iconic living room was actually painted in bright pink, there are countless mysteries surrounding the original show. Even Ted Cassidy, who played Lurch, had a secret double role that few knew about. What other hidden details from this classic series might surprise you? Carolyn Jones's grueling transformation into Morticia. Becoming Morticia Addams was no simple feat for Carolyn Jones. To bring the Gothic matriarch to life, Jones had to endure an intense and lengthy daily transformation. Her portrayal of Morticia remains iconic, but behind the scenes, the process was far from glamorous. Every day, Jones spent more than 2 hours in the makeup chair, undergoing a grueling transformation to achieve Morticia's signature eerie and elegant look. The first step in her transformation was her face, which had to be painted with a thick layer of pale foundation to give her the ghostly, almost ethereal appearance Morticia was known for. Her skin had to appear as if she had never seen the light of day, which required several layers of foundation, powder, and shading to get the perfect contrast with her dark costume and jet black hair. The pale look was essential, making her stand out from the rest of the Addams clan. Her eyes, though, were the real focal point. They were heavily lined with black eyeliner, stretching beyond her natural lash line to create the dark, dramatic look that was key to Morticia's mysterious allure. This exaggerated cat-eye style gave her a haunting gaze, and black mascara and fake lashes were added to enhance the effect. The final touch was her lips. Painted in deep shades of red or black, her lipstick contrasted starkly against her pale face, completing her otherworldly appearance. Morticia's hair was just as essential to the character's look as the makeup. Jones wore a long, jet black wig made from real human hair, which was styled meticulously every day. The wig had to fall perfectly over her shoulders, sleek and straight, to match the eerie, polished appearance that became Morticia's signature look. It wasn't just any black wig, it was long, luscious, and heavy, giving Jones an elegant yet haunting silhouette. Jones didn't just undergo makeup changes, her wardrobe also played a major role in creating Morticia's iconic look. The long, tight-fitting black dress Morticia wore was custom-made to accentuate her slim figure, and had long flowing sleeves that gave her an almost supernatural grace. However, the dress was so tight that it restricted Jones's movement significantly. In fact, it was so form-fitting that she could barely walk, forcing her to take small, delicate steps. This limitation led to Morticia's distinct gliding movement on screen, which became a trademark of her character. Despite the discomfort and long hours, Jones never let the transformation process affect her performance. She was determined to make Morticia as captivating and strange as possible, and she succeeded. Her portrayal of Morticia Addams became so iconic that even decades later, it's hard to imagine anyone else in the role. The Addams family's high-tech home. The Addams family may have been known for their eerie charm, but they were also unexpectedly ahead of their time, embracing technology long before it became a household staple. One of the most surprising elements of their spooky mansion was the introduction of a computer, long before personal computers were common in homes. In fact, the Addams family home was one of the first TV households to showcase a high-tech gadget like this, represented by a whimsical supercomputer named Wizzo. Wizzo made its first appearance in an episode titled The Addams Family Splurges, where Gomez and Pugsley built the machine to help with some rather unusual tasks. Wizzo wasn't your typical computer. Instead of calculating mundane numbers, it helped the family plan extravagant vacations, like a trip to the moon, which Gomez and Morticia thought would be a fantastic adventure. This wasn't just a gimmick for one episode either. The computer later played a major role in another plot, helping Gomez run his bizarre political campaign for mayor. What made Wizzo stand out wasn't just its futuristic functions, but also how seamlessly it fit into the Addams family's strange and peculiar lifestyle. Most families in the 60s could hardly dream of having such advanced technology in their living room, but for the Addamses, Owning a cutting-edge computer was just as natural as keeping a pet lion or growing exotic plants that ate flies. Wizzo's presence in their home felt as ordinary as Lurch playing the harpsichord. It was all part of the quirky charm that made the Addams family so unique. But Wizzo wasn't the only futuristic gadget in their home. The Addams family's mansion was filled with strange and wonderful inventions that reflected their love for the bizarre. Their technology wasn't just there to make life easier. It often added an extra layer of eccentricity to their already unconventional world. From strange communication devices to hidden contraptions that popped up unexpectedly, their home seemed to be a mix of Victorian Gothic style and avant-garde tech. What set the Addams family apart wasn't just their love for the strange, but how they embraced the future with open arms. At a time when most households didn't even have a television set, the Addamses were imagining space travel and using a computer for political campaigns. In a way, the Addams family's use of technology was a reflection of their outlook on life. While others may have seen computers as complicated, cold machines, the Addamses saw it as just another part of their wonderfully odd reality, a way to make life even more interesting. Charles Addams began as a cartoonist for The New Yorker. Long before the Addams family became a household name, they existed as quirky characters in the mind of their creator, Charles Addams. His career as a cartoonist started with a simple window washer sketch published in The New Yorker on February 6, 1932. However, it wasn't until several years later that the world would first glimpse the then unnamed Morticia Addams, who appeared in a few of Addams' cartoons in the late 30s. Addams never intended to create a full family right away. In fact, Morticia existed as a standalone figure long before Gomez, Pugsley, and Wednesday were added to the mix. In interviews, Addams shared that he based Morticia on the qualities of women he admired, later admitting that her character reflected the traits he found attractive in real life. Some even speculated that Morticia resembled Addams's first wife, Barbara Jean Day, but the timeline doesn't quite fit, as he hadn't met her yet. He once commented that while Morticia wasn't modeled after anyone in particular, there was a touch of Gloria Swanson's dramatic flair in her. Morticia's formal debut, alongside her oddball family members, came in a one-panel cartoon published in The New Yorker in 1938. Over the years, Addams continued to expand this peculiar family in his cartoons. The family dynamic and individual personalities evolved slowly. Gomez, for instance, was added 4 years later, followed by the mischievous Pugsley and the brooding Wednesday. Uncle Fester was eventually added, with Addams humorously admitting that Fester bore some resemblance to himself, only with more hair. Throughout the 40s and 50s, the Addams family graced the pages of The New Yorker in various darkly humorous scenarios. One of their most famous cartoons from that era showed the family joyfully preparing to pour boiling oil on unsuspecting Christmas carolers below their mansion. This particular illustration resonated so well with readers that it was even printed on holiday cards and sold to fans who appreciated Addams' macabre sense of humor. By the time the television show was in development in 1963, the Addams family members still didn't have official names. It wasn't until the producers of the show worked closely with Addams that characters like Wednesday finally got a name derived from the nursery rhyme, "Wednesday's child is full of woe," and the rest of the family was given the familiar monikers we know today. Interestingly, William Shawn, the editor of The New Yorker, was not keen on the idea of the Addams family becoming a television series. Once the show aired in 1964, he prohibited any further Addams family cartoons from being published in the magazine, marking the end of their print appearances. But by then, the family had taken on a life of their own, with their distinct personalities charming television audiences across America. Even though the show only ran for 2 seasons, it solidified the Addams family's place in pop culture history. Meanwhile, Charles Addams continued to work as a prolific cartoonist, drawing over 1,300 cartoons for The New Yorker throughout his career, with 58 of them featuring his beloved Addams family. Addams's influence extended beyond his own work as well. His collaboration with science fiction writer Ray Bradbury in the 40s resulted in a shared connection between the Addams family and Bradbury's own creation, the Elliott family, a similarly odd and monstrous clan featured in Bradbury's stories. Charles Addams' knack for mixing the macabre with humor created a timeless legacy, and his Addams Family remains one of his most celebrated creations. Today, his ghoulish but charming characters continue to inspire adaptations across media, from animated series and films to Broadway musicals. Addams Family House. Every story has a beginning, and for the Addams family, that beginning is deeply rooted in the small town of Westfield, New Jersey. This unassuming town served as the birthplace of Charles Addams, the brilliant mind behind the quirky, dark, and beloved Addams Family. In fact, the eerie mansion where the Addams family resides in his cartoons and on television was directly inspired by a real house in Westfield, a place that Charles Addams himself walked by as a child. The house, with its looming Gothic architecture, became a symbol of everything the Addams family represented: spooky, mysterious, and a bit offbeat. Though the actual house doesn't seem as haunted as the one in the cartoons, its pointed turrets, wide windows, and grand design made it the perfect muse for Charles Addams's imagination. It was in this very town where Addams would develop his fascination with the macabre and eventually bring his vision to life through his cartoons. Today, Westfield honors its most famous resident with an annual celebration known as Addams Fest. This event transforms the town into a Halloween wonderland, complete with decorations, murals, and even a replica of the Addams family mansion sitting proudly in the town's park. Visitors can walk through Westfield, stopping by various houses dressed up in Halloween splendor, each paying homage to the quirky and spooky legacy of the Addams family. One of the most iconic attractions during Addams Fest is the mansion itself. Although it is a scaled-down version of the original, seeing it on an island in the middle of a picturesque pond makes it feel like you've stepped into one of Charles Addams' cartoons. The house stands as a testament to the creative genius of Addams and his ability to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. For fans of the Addams family, a trip to Westfield during Addams Fest is like stepping back in time to experience the world that inspired Charles Addams. Every corner of the town is filled with nods to the famous family, from statues of Morticia and Gomez to murals of Uncle Fester and Cousin It. Even local shops join in on the fun, with window displays featuring the creepy and kooky clan. Beyond the decorations and festivities, Westfield holds a deep connection to Charles Addams himself. The very streets that visitors walk today are the same ones he wandered as a boy, imagining the strange characters that would eventually become the Addams family. It was here that Addams developed his love for the macabre, often spending time in graveyards and drawing what he saw. This childhood fascination with the darker side of life would go on to shape the humor and style of his work for decades to come. Ted Cassidy played two different roles on the show. Ted Cassidy was a towering presence both on and off the screen, standing at an incredible 6 feet 9 inches tall. He was most famous for his role as Lurk, the tall, imposing butler of the Addams family, who